Well, guys, it's been a while since we worked on this car. I'm not ashamed to say it, which now that I'm here, I realized that where we left off was the brake lines, and I was waiting for the dice to come in. The dice came in, they're at home, so we're not going to do that today, which it doesn't matter because I think it's time that we work on something else other than brake lines. So let's talk about them. We're not going to work on them, but let's talk on them for a little bit. So the brake lines are all done. We have to just flare the ends and put the fittings in and make sure they all bolt up. So, but they're all in. I could literally just take these home with me and do all that at home and bring them in afterwards. So I'm not worried about that. What we're gonna focus on today, we're gonna mate the engine and transmission and maybe put it up. With the brake lines being bent already, I think that we could put the engine up and we could deal with, putting some of these lines on after with the intake manifold on. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. And if it is, we could just remove the intake manifold and do what we gotta do. So there's no real reason why we shouldn't be able to put the engine together and perhaps maybe up in here. With that being said, let's go into the parts room. There's a lot of stuff in there. But I think it's time, and it'll give us a little bit of a kind of a thrill and some motivation if we get this engine in there under the car and we pull. Well, we're gonna have to remove the torque converter, that automatic BS out the way. And as far as the clutch goes, we could take that one. I mean, we could take it apart and see what's left of life on that one, or one of those two over there to put on this engine. Typically, I would just buy another clutch, like a brand new clutch. It's not a high horsepower car, it's just a VTEC motor. So any like stock clutch would handle the stage one clutch, could handle that. But being that this is a budget rebuild, we're gonna go with what we have. This is our parts room. There's a bunch of engines on the ground. This is our radiator. We could probably go to the junkyard and like probably walk away. Like there's some catalytic converters that came off of cars that parted out. We're not over here sawzawing people's catalytic converters out. These are our catalytic converters. But there's a bunch of stuff in here that, with putting these two cars together now, should be able to clean a lot of this up and allow us to kind of reorganize in here. However, that's not why we're here. Going back to the clutch setup, we have two clutches over there, one here, and nothing there. But with these three clutches, those two, this one, we'll be able to figure out what works best for our setup here. Obviously, we're gonna check them and make sure that we don't put like some worn out clutch in here. I think I feel like I should use this one because that one is obviously rusted out, and then this one, I think there's a bolt missing for this one, but that's actually I think that's like a stage 2 or 3 clutch that I would like to hoard for like maybe a nicer build. I say let's cart this engine out of here into the other bay, and then we could see how we could prop this up so we could remove the torque converter and come back in here and remove that stuff. I don't know. Well, let's just figure out. Let's just do one thing at a time because there's too much going on, and I would like to be productive in this video. That's not good. Excuse the hard transition, but this thing was giving us kind of an issue. All right, so now we got the engine under the car all the way over here, and we did some questionable things off screen to get it up here. So now how to remove the torque converter. Usually there's bolts hidden somewhere, right? Typically, they would be somewhere where you could see them. So I see no bolts here. Could they be behind this? I don't know. But I'm gonna try just to pry that out. Oh, pry bar's right here. See, like I cleaned this garage up a bit, and then I make another disaster. So let's see if this will come out. So let's put this right back here. So it's not budging at all. Nope. See this side. Oh look, there is hardware right here. You guys see that? Come on, focus right there. Focus. So now we're gonna have to slide. Focus. We're gonna have to slide the engine forward on the cart, and then use like a wrench on the side, probably underneath, because that's the only spot we have space, and undo all those bolts, so that'll release the torque converter. All right, so we have to basically stop the engine from turning because it's turning a lot right now. So where's that part for? This is starting to smell like my first swap all over again. So the flex plate, these are the bolts from the torque converter, from the flex plate to the torque converter. This is what holds, these little 10s is what holds the torque converter to the flex plate. So we're gonna remove, I think about like 10 of these, and then that'll release the torque converter, and then the flex plate is gonna have those regular that goes onto the main bearing, the rear main seal bolts, and that's where everything comes off. So we're learning. This engine is disgustingly filthy. Like, this is terrible. There's a couple thing right there, but the front of the engine is even worse. So something was leaking on this, and then they were like, you know what's a good idea? Let's put a freaking VTEC engine on it. All right. Anyways, now we could turn this thing for real. So now I gotta hop on that side, turn it, come back on this side, turn it. Push the engine this way more. Okay. Holy crap, that's heavy. Whew. I hate being this dirty. This engine is filthy. We should definitely put take this engine outside and power wash it. It is disgusting. Disgusting. It's just amazing when you can find the right tools. That was easy. That was probably the easiest part of that. I mean, the 10s and the torque converter, honestly, wasn't that hard. It was actually pretty easy. But if we look here, we can see that we have crazy amounts of oil buildup, and it looks like the rear main is definitely part of the problem. Probably the biggest problem. Like, all this in here is all caked in because of you know, stuff like the distributor O-ring leaking, you know, and maybe, you know, the VTEC solenoid leaking and just seeping down in there. But, you know, there is some seepage there, but it looks like most of it was just oil coming out of this thing and just splattering around everywhere. Now that that's gone, we're gonna have to go get a new rear main seal. We're gonna have to find a way to pull this engine outside and power wash it because it is atrocious. Like, look at the front of this thing. You guys ever seen something that disgusting and caked on? It literally looks like it's painted. So we're gonna have to do that, and then decide which clutch here we're gonna put on this, which we pretty much know which one we're gonna use. And then we can mate this thing together, maybe even put it up. So let's should I change the, I don't think I gotta change the oil pump housing. Yeah, I think this is the oil pump that's back in here. So I think we're gonna leave that alone, this in here. We're just gonna pull that out because you can't even tell where it's leaking from. Let's just hope, fingers crossed, that is the rear main. So let's go see what we have here for as far as like the greasers. I know I used this recently or something else. We got like a whole bottle, so we don't need the greaser. The gunk spray, the spray of this thing is great. I've used it more on running cars, but you spray it on there, you let it bake with the engine on, and that thing just like basically just runs right off. But this engine is filthy AF on the back and on the front. Like, look at that. You can't really tell much in there, especially with this camera won't focus, but it's pretty oily. That's a lot of oil there. I don't know what's leaking. I would say that the culprit is probably that sandwich plate, but not too sure. So the whole engine could use a cleaning. Which arises the question, should we just keep getting this filthy? Which I know people get dirtier, but should we keep getting this filthy, working on this, and just clean it once it's in the car? Or should we just clean it now? I will lean towards cleaning it now. Other people will clean it later or not clean it at all. It's an interesting situation because if it was easier to roll out, we 100% would just roll it out and do it. But I am kind of considering maybe after, once it's in the car, we go push the whole car outside and clean it that way. Let's go buy some gaskets. Brother Curvis actually has a full gasket kit here, but I'm sure he's saying that he has maybe his SI he could use that for. But we need to get a distributor O-ring. We need to get a VTEC solenoid gasket, rear main seal. We could probably get a valve cover gasket. I may have one laying around anyways. And I feel like as far as like places to leak oil on this side of the engine, that's pretty much it. Oh, this thing here, this freeze plug, they put an aftermarket in. That one usually leaks, and usually you put enough, FIPG or sealant there that Honda Bond that doesn't, it's kind of comes on the edge so you can see it. So that may also be something that's leaking oil. It looks like it could be leaking at one point. These people really didn't do a good job, and this engine never ran, so like that's all old oil, unless they did try to get this started. It never started for me, so we don't know. But all that stuff needs to get changed, so let's go get all that stuff. All right, here we are. Let's see what they have for us. Alrighty. I don't record in the store because I'm afraid. I'm so scared of recording in the store, but we got 3 cans of, we got 2 cans of brake cleaner, 1 of engine degreaser. Oh God, this is hard. We got a rear main seal, and then we got the cam plug. Everything else they had out of stock, and we had to order. So we're just gonna do what we can with this, and everything else we'll just order once we get it. But I mean, I want to clean the engine, so that's why I got the brake, because brake cleaner is really good. And then I just want to try this out, this engine degreaser, and see what happens, because that engine is filthy, like very, very filthy, and we don't want to put a dirty engine in the clean engine bay. So now let's go back to the garage. Alrighty, so this took a lot longer than expected, but look at that thing now. I'll put it, oh my goodness, this thing looks like a brand new engine. Obviously I probably should have removed the AC bracket and cleaned that up a little bit more, but that's fine. And typically, if you're making like a show car, like a nice clean car, you would probably paint this thing, or like, maybe like wire wheel it a little bit more, so you could get like a better finish. So something more like raw aluminum like this. But honestly, this is more than enough. The header's gonna be blocking most of this. I just didn't want to put this in this car, like in this clean engine bay, looking the way it was. So that's perfectly clean there. This is clean here. And the back, where we're clean a little bit, looks much cleaner. You can actually see the aluminum. However, I kind of went overboard and completely forgot, super dark down here, about this part. So I wiped some of it off. So, you know, some of it is like a little cleaner, but down here, it's completely still covered in oil. Like right there, you guys can see a little bit. And with that side, I think for whatever reason, when they put this engine together, they used a bunch of that like gasket maker, and they also didn't put any of the engine covers on. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to put the engine and transmission together this video. We have to order the timing covers, and probably gonna order the gaskets for the, you know, for the stuff down there, or just take it off and just reseal it, because you know the water pump and stuff is down there, and we don't want to put this engine in this car knowing that there's some leaks. That'll also give us enough time to get the distributor O-ring in, the valve cover gasket, and the oil pan gasket, and that'll basically seal all the oil stuff up, and the oil pan gasket will do when the engine is on. But that'll cover that oil, all that oil problems up, because we want to put this in and we don't want to have to take this out. And as much as it would be great for a video to just get this up there and you know, oh, the engine's in, I hate to do things more than once. And if it takes us just a little bit longer to get things done the right way, we're gonna go that way about it every single time. So with that being said, guys, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below, let me know what I could use, because I think I went through like 6 or 7 of those brake cleaner cans, and it did a good job, but I think there has to be better options. So let me know your comments on that, and subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you guys next week for another video. Peace.